You owe it to you in 2025, not your friends, not your parents, not your boss. Here's the truth most won't tell you. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is checking on your goals while you're watching Netflix. Nobody is sitting at your desk reminding you to build the future you keep talking about. The only person who's going to be held accountable for your life in 2025 is you. So ask yourself this: are your actions today paying rent on the life you say you want tomorrow? Because results don't care about your intentions, let me break this down for you. 1. Ownership is the foundation. If your life isn't where you want it to be, it's not the government. It's not your job. It's not your background. It's you, and that's not a bad thing. That's power, because if it's you, then you can fix it. 2. Your life is your business. Treat it like one. Track your time. Track your habits. Track your effort. Would you invest in your own life if it were a startup? If not, change that. Stop operating like an underpaid employee in the business of your life. 3. Motivation is overrated. Discipline wins. If you're relying on motivation to do the hard things, you've already lost. Create a system. Show up whether you feel like it or not. Think like a professional, not a hobbyist. 4. Consistency is the compound interest of success. 2025 won't magically bring you a new mindset or better finances, but daily discipline in 2024, that's the investment that pays off next year. Small, boring, repeated actions, that's the formula. 5. Hard work is the price. Stop negotiating with it. Every excuse you make, someone else ignored it and succeeded anyway. You're not too late. You're just not consistent yet. And if you don't pay the price now, you'll pay it later in regret. 6. You owe it to your future self, not to prove anything to others, not to be impressive on social media, but because you know what you're capable of, because you feel it, and because letting yourself down over and over again. That's the real failure, not losing, quitting. So here's the bottom line. In 2025, you're either going to thank yourself or blame yourself. And every single thing you do today, every meal you eat, every dollar you spend, every scroll, every workout, every late night, it's the vote you're casting for who you're becoming. Stop outsourcing responsibility. No one is coming to fix your life. Here's the brutal truth. Most people waste years waiting for someone or something to change their life. They wait for the perfect opportunity, for the market to shift, for their boss to notice their hard work, for the right partner to come along, for motivation to magically show up. It's a form of procrastination disguised as hope. But hope is not a strategy, and waiting is not a plan. Nobody is coming. There's no mentor who's going to hand you a perfect roadmap. There's no rich uncle with $1 million check. And no, life doesn't get better with time, unless you get better over time. That's the truth no one wants to hear because it puts the responsibility back on your shoulders, and that's exactly where it belongs. When you finally take full ownership of your life 100%, that's when everything starts to change. Not 80/20, not I'm responsible, but also my parents messed me up. Or I'm responsible, but the economy is bad. No. That mindset is toxic. The moment you give someone else credit for your problems, you also hand them power over your solutions. The day you stop outsourcing responsibility is the day you start gaining control. Your career, your income, your health, your happiness, they're not luck. They're outcomes, and outcomes are built by actions, repeated over time, by people who accept responsibility regardless of the circumstances. Taking ownership doesn't mean blame. It means saying, I can't control everything, but I control my actions, reactions, and habits, and those shape my results. You need to flip the switch from victim to operator, from spectator to player. That shift in identity, that decision to take control, is the turning point. Because the people who win long-term are not the ones who wait for handouts or fairness. They're the ones who build anyway. Show up anyway, work anyway, and here's what happens when you stop outsourcing responsibility. You start moving faster. You make decisions without needing permission. You fail, learn, adjust, and move again. You build momentum, and that momentum creates confidence, real confidence, because it's rooted in evidence. It's not fake positivity, it's proof. You don't need more tips, more hacks, or more books. You need to make a decision, to take control, to stop looking outward and start building inward. If you want to change your life by 2025, stop waiting for someone to show up and save you. Be that person for yourself. Every day, every choice, every step, that's you saving you. Because if not you, then who? Your life is your business. Most people don't get this. They treat their life like a casual hobby, not a serious operation. They drift, they react, they hope things work out. But if you want 2025 to be different, you've got to shift your mindset. You have to become the CEO of your own existence. Think about how a real business runs. It has systems, it has targets, it tracks data. It adjusts strategy based on performance. A real business isn't based on feelings, it's based on results. Now ask yourself this. If your life was a company, would anyone invest in it? Would you invest in it? Most people run their life at a loss mentally, financially, emotionally. They don't track where their time goes. They don't know how much energy they waste. They make decisions with zero regard for the long-term impact. They avoid hard conversations, procrastinate on growth, and delay action. That's how businesses fail. That's how lives stall. Start thinking like an operator, not just someone existing, but someone running a system. You need to have KPI, key performance indicators, for your own life. How many hours of focused work did you get this week? How much time did you waste on mindless entertainment? How are your relationships? Are they growing or draining you? Are you creating value or just consuming? Successful businesses aren't built by accident, and neither are successful lives. They're built through discipline, clarity, and relentless execution. That's the formula. Not luck, not waiting for the right year or perfect mood, just showing up and doing the work consistently. The more you treat your life like a business, the faster you grow. Why? Because now you operate on cause and effect. You make moves, see what works, double down. You cut what's not working. You optimize. Most people are too emotionally attached to their old identity to make these changes. They'd rather feel safe and stuck than face discomfort and grow. You have to fire old versions of yourself that no longer serve you. You have to hire new habits that move you forward. That's what a smart operator does. If you want to level up in 2025, stop playing life like a game of chance. Start running it like a high-performance machine. That means having a clear vision. That means showing up even when you don't feel like it. That means making decisions based on logic, not just comfort. The difference between someone who thrives and someone who stays stuck isn't talent. It's how seriously they take ownership of their life. One treats it like a hobby, the other runs it like a business. So ask yourself, are you running your life like an amateur or like an operator? Because one of them ends 2025 in the same place they started, and the other one, they're unrecognizable. Motivation is the most overrated thing in personal development. People wait for it like it's some kind of divine signal to start doing the work. I just don't feel motivated today. That sentence right there is the anchor that keeps most people average. Because here's the truth, motivation is a mood. It's temporary, it's inconsistent, and if your success is tied to something that unpredictable, your results will be unpredictable too. Discipline, on the other hand, is reliable. It doesn't care how you feel. It just gets the job done. Motivation is loud and exciting, but it burns out. Discipline is quiet, boring, and it lasts. If you want to make 2025 the year everything changes, then stop waiting for inspiration. Build systems, build structure, build discipline. The people who win are not the ones who feel like doing it every day, they're the ones who do it anyway. While most are hitting snooze, they're up. While most are scrolling, they're building. That's not motivation, that's a system. That's the standard they've built for themselves. Discipline is making a decision once and honoring it 1,000 times. You don't have to wake up every morning and redecide if you're going to the gym. You don't need to convince yourself daily that you should work on your side hustle. You just need a system, something that operates with or without your emotions involved. The problem is, people tie action to how they feel. They let feelings run the show, but feelings lie. They're inconsistent. One bad night's sleep, and suddenly you don't feel like working. One comment from someone you barely know, and you lose a whole day to self-doubt. That's what happens when you rely on motivation. You're at the mercy of your emotions. That's a losing game. When you shift from chasing motivation to building discipline, everything changes. Your output becomes predictable. Your self-worth goes up because you can trust yourself. You stop breaking promises to yourself. You stop quitting halfway through. That's how confidence is built, through evidence, through a track record of following through regardless of mood. And the best part, discipline is something you build like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. You don't start out with massive discipline. No one does. But you build it by keeping small promises over and over until it becomes your identity. Not a chore, a standard. So if you're serious about 2025, stop looking for the next motivational video or quote to fire you up. Instead, build habits that operate whether you're in the mood or not. Automate your success. Make the hard stuff non-negotiable. Because the person who's disciplined will outperform the person who's motivated every single time. And if you're honest with yourself, you already know that. 2025 won't save you. It won't magically fix your mindset, your finances, your body, or your habits. The calendar doesn't care about your goals. A new year doesn't erase old patterns. If you bring the same weak standards, the same excuses, and the same inconsistent actions into 2025 that you had in 2024, you'll get the same results. Nothing changes until you do. People put way too much faith in time. They think that by just waiting long enough, success will eventually knock on the door. It won't. Time doesn't fix problems, work does, and not just random effort, consistent, deliberate, focused effort, stacked day after day. That's what compounds. That's what builds momentum. That's what actually moves the needle. If you're sitting around hoping things will turn around next year, let me save you some time. They won't unless you do. Consistency is the real cheat code. Not flashy moves, not random big bursts of energy, not some 90-day challenge. Just boring, repeatable, disciplined consistency. Consistency is what makes average people exceptional. It's not about genius. It's not about connections. It's not about talent. It's about showing up, doing the work, and repeating the process even when you're tired, bored, or discouraged. Most people underestimate how powerful consistency is because they don't get instant results. They hit the gym for 2 weeks, don't see abs, and quit. They post content for a month, get 10 views, and stop. They launch a product, don't get sales, and call it a failure. But here's the truth. The game rewards patience. Not laziness, patience. The willingness to do the right thing long enough for it to matter. Consistency creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. And confidence creates outcomes, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel confident to take action. You take action until confidence becomes a natural byproduct. That's the difference between people who win and people who coast. Winners don't wait for proof. They become the proof. They don't need applause to show up. They show up because it's who they are. The work becomes the reward. So if you're serious about making 2025 different, stop looking at the calendar. Look in the mirror, ask yourself, if I just repeated my last 30 days for the next 12 months, would I be proud of the result? That's your reality check. That's the audit you need, because how you do small things is how you'll do everything. Your routines, your habits, your standards, they're either moving you forward or slowly killing your potential. Don't wait for 2025 to change your life. Start being consistent now, and 2025 will have no choice but to reflect the work you put in. Time isn't your solution, consistency is. Hard work is the price. It's not optional. It's the entry fee to everything you say you want: the business, the freedom, the body, the confidence, the income. And here's what most people don't want to admit. You're either paying that price now with discipline, effort, and sacrifice, or you're going to pay it later in regret, mediocrity, and missed potential. There's no hack around this. There's no shortcut past it. If it were easy, everyone would already have what they say they want, but they don't, because most people are too busy making excuses instead of making progress. And the worst part, they actually believe their own excuses. I'm too tired. I'm too busy. It's not the right time. But here's the reality. Someone else has the same problems as you and they're still winning. Why? Because they don't negotiate with hard work. They don't ask, do I feel like it today? They ask, what has to be done today and how fast can I do it? Hard work isn't just about grinding for the sake of it. It's about doing the necessary things, the uncomfortable, boring, repetitive things that actually produce results. Success isn't some glamorous lifestyle you stumble into. It's built in silence, behind the scenes, by people who are willing to suffer more than others are willing to suffer. If you want to separate yourself from the pack in 2025, here's the cheat code. Outwork everyone, that's it. It's not talent. It's not connections. It's not luck. It's volume. It's reps. It's relentless execution when everyone else is hesitating or distracted. Hard work doesn't guarantee success, but not working hard guarantees failure. That's a fact. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards results, and results come from putting in more effort than you think is required, for longer than you think is necessary. Most people tap out at 60%. They start strong, but they fade. They hit resistance, and they back off. Winners, they expect resistance. They lean into it. They don't view effort as punishment, they view it as the price of entry. Because they understand something crucial, the bigger the life you want, the higher the price. You don't get to have a six-figure business with a minimum wage work ethic. You don't get to live a high-performance life while doing the bare minimum. That's not how this works. So stop asking when it gets easier. It doesn't. You just get stronger. You get more skilled. You get faster. You get tougher. And then the hard things, they become your new normal. Hard work is the test, and the longer you try to avoid it, the longer you delay the life you could have built already. Pay the price now, or wish you had later. It's your choice. Just don't act surprised by the result. You owe it to the person you could become, not the person you are right now. That future version of you, the one with the results, the discipline, the reputation, the peace, the income, they're not built on comfort. They're built on sacrifice, and every day you delay, you're robbing that version of yourself of the life they could be living. Most people stay loyal to who they are right now. They protect their identity even if it's mediocre. They defend their excuses, justify their lack of action, and build routines around playing small. They tell themselves things like, this is just how I am, or I'll start when I'm ready, as if the person they could be will just appear one day when the stars align. That's not how it works. Growth isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming who you were meant to be and getting rid of everything that's in the way. And most of the time, what's in the way is you, your habits, your patterns, your comfort zone, your fear of judgment, your obsession with being liked. None of that serves the future you. You owe it to yourself to stop playing small just to stay comfortable. You owe it to your potential to stop delaying the work. Because the truth is, the person you could be is watching the person you are, and they're either disappointed or proud. They either thank you for showing up, or they resent you for wasting time. There is a cost to staying the same, a real cost. And it shows up in subtle ways, in lack of fulfillment, in anxiety, in regret, in watching others pass you by and wondering what you could have done differently. You say you want the results, the lifestyle, the respect, great, but do your actions actually match that desire? Because you can't fake becoming your future self. You either do the work or you don't. You either live with discipline or you live with regret. You either move forward or you stay stuck. And here's the painful truth. No one will force you to level up. You won't get a reminder. You won't get an alert. You'll just slowly drift further and further from the version of you that you know deep down you were capable of becoming. And that's the real pain, not failing, but knowing you could have done more and didn't. You don't owe it to the person you used to be. You don't owe it to anyone's expectations. You owe it to the version of you that's waiting, the one that's disciplined, healthy, focused, wealthy, respected, and free. You owe it to that person to stop wasting time, to stop negotiating with excuses, and to start acting like your life actually matters, because it does, and you're the only one who can build it.